Okay then. Having a morning. Not a bad one, just a weird one. And both of the boys are in here. They're over, Dante's over there on his pillow, looking out the window, and Giovanni's asleep it's a bowl-shaped scratch pad. And Dante's really, so because they're Siamese, they have bright blue eyes. And since Dante's looking out the window, like his eyes are really blue because his pupils have really contracted because it's bright light. It's really interesting looking. He's only paying some attention to me. But, okay. All right. So, damn, that's what's going on in my world. I'm watching the cat sleep or stare out the window. We are doing a new design for living, so let's do the housekeeping. And all the housekeeping is me reminding you that we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. Website is creativelife.org. Constant contact email, info@creativelife.org. That will get you one email a week, tells you what's going on for the week and the month, and the hot links are hot. So click here now means it. It is a blind CC, which means nobody will see your email. You won't end up on anybody else's email list because of us. And when I said one email a week, I meant it. It's a real person doing it. He just doesn't have time for more than that. You would only get another email if something unusual happens, which, considering we live on the Gulf Coast, is almost always weather related. Here we are. It's going to be 80 degrees most of this week. I'm not happy. It's the second week of February. It's not supposed to be in the 80s. That just makes me worry about what the summer's going to be like. So, okay. So, and then let me mention the social media, mainly from the standpoint of we don't monetize it. We don't want to deal with the ads any more than you do. So what we ask you to do instead is to go like, subscribe, follow based on which platform you're on, and then engage with the individual post by reacting to the post, commenting on the post, sharing the post. Bumps us in the algorithms. So, all right. So a new design for living is the process of science of mind. This is what I've decided it is. Yeah, I mean, you can read the back of the book. You can look up the description online. It's the process of science of mind. It was written towards the end of Ernest's career, and I think that's what he decided was, it was like, you know what, I'm going to sit down and just figure this, and write down the process. Because that's what Jesse says. When you do treatment, the universe doesn't hand you what you ask for, what you're treating about. It hands you a process to get there. That's what this is. We happen to be in chapter, I think we're in chapter 8. Yes, we are in chapter 8. Learn to think big. Which I thought was really interesting based on the poem that Sasha read yesterday. Early in the service. She read a poem that effectively said the same thing. It's like, learn to think big. Oftentimes we play too small. I remember, now I'm a storyteller, so I have a tendency to exaggerate. So 100 years ago, back when I was still in the psychic community, our teacher brought in, I forget what modality she did. But one of the things that she told me was, she said, you need a bigger stage. And when I was ordained, patted me on, that was my teacher, patted me on the shoulder and said, see, you needed a bigger stage. Learn to think big. Learn to think bigger, Don't play small. Don't play small. It won't get you anywhere. So, or it won't get you anywhere near as far as you could go if you play small. So, like I said, we are in chapter 8. We are doing Learn to Think Big, and our article today is titled Experience, the Measure of Faith. Everyday living would come to a quick stop if we did not have faith. There would be nothing that could be depended upon. There would be nothing that we could trust. We would be fearful of our every move because of possible dire circumstances. Dire consequences. Every aspect of our daily living is based on faith, but we seldom realize it. We have come to accept such declarations of faith as commonplace and natural. We breathe, we eat, knowing that certain things will result. We turn on the lights, start the car, light a fire, plant a garden without a bit of hesitancy, fear, or doubt. We have faith. We know certain things work in a certain way, and that is all there is to it. This same kind of faith we need to develop in another aspect of our living, the most important aspect, the realm of mind. The caliber of our faith very definitely helps shape the container we use to measure out our portion of life. Well, that's an interesting. Okay. The caliber of our faith very definitely helps shape the container we use to measure out our portion of life. Okay. Another factor helping to shape it is our mental equivalent. This presents some very interesting ideas and possibilities. A little story will show us what it means. Supposing a friend of ours who is not too well fixed financially receives a wire that a long forgotten relative has died and left them a small fortune. At the end of a year, it will become theirs to spend and do with as they please. What would happen to our friend? The odds are that they would suddenly become very happy, start to enjoy life, be in better health than they were before, and generally speaking, would be a grand person. For them, life would be wonderful. But remember that all this would have occurred without the present bank account being increased by even 1 cent. That would not happen for a year. Yet, in spite of this, right now, they would develop the mental equivalent of being in possession of the inheritance and accordingly reap the benefits. In some respects, it would appear as though we were getting the cart before the horse, that we are enjoying effects without cause. Not so. Once we are able to establish in our own minds the mental equivalent of success. Let's see. Let me try that again. Once we are able to establish in our own minds the mental equivalent of success, health, and happiness, success, health, and happiness become our experience according to the law of mind. When we are low in spirits, full of aches and pains, and thoroughly miserable, if we would take the time and trouble to establish in our pattern of thinkings the way we would feel if we were joyous, healthy, and happy, that is what we become. We create in thought the equivalent of the way we think. Oh, there are leaves falling. I was like, what was that thump? There are leaves falling and the cat is... Yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry. Okay. Let's see. We create in thought the equivalent of the way we would think and feel if everything were to our liking. And once the equivalent is firmly established, there is no alternative but that through the creativity of thought, such conditions are brought about. But this is not daydreaming or wishful thinking. The constructive creative power of such a mental equivalent, regardless of what it is the equivalent of, rests in our faith in such creativeness, intellectual conviction of its effectiveness, and complete emotional acceptance. No doubt, no questioning, no apprehension as to whether it will or will not work. Jesse does this really neat exercise we call it heartfelt living. It's the foundational class, but it's like introduction to science of mind. That's what it is. Like I said, we call it heartfelt living. And he calls it the red sports car. And he literally, because I still have a couple of them floating around in my house, they're little matchbox cars, for lack of a better description, little red sports cars. And he hands them out, and then he goes up to the board, or whoever the teacher is goes up to the board, and, you know, what you do is you talk about the feelings you would have buying a red sports car. How would it make you feel to have that red sports car? And you get sexy, and you get powerful, and you get a prosperous, and, you know, just all of those feeling words. And Jesse's like, well, can you feel that way before you have the car? Because then you don't need the car, but you can still have the car. And that's kind of what Ernest is talking about. How do you want to feel? How do you want to feel? Go ahead and line out, this is how I want to feel in this situation, and create that container, and then let the law fill it in. And that's why we talk about outlining, but not, you know, don't get too specific. It's like, okay, these are the feelings that I want to have. This is the experience that I want to have. But don't get real specific. Like if you're treating about a house, then list out all of the qualities that you want in a house, but don't give an address. Because maybe there are people living in that house and they're not ready to give up that house yet. Then you are cutting off all the other houses that meet your qualifications. That was the curtain falling, probably the cat, but I don't know. Interestingly enough, it scared the sleeping cat, and the cat that it fell on doesn't care. Okay, so point being, I'm now completely thrown out. Point being, you know, if you are interested in having a partner, then list out all of the qualities, but don't list a name. Because again, you're cutting off all of the ways that spirit could bring you what you're asking for. And it really is about deciding, how do you want to feel? How do you want to feel? And then letting spirit bring you the things that will help you create that feeling. So, and that's why he's got this in, you know, the think big. Frequently, again, we play too small. You know, we don't think worthiness is a thing. You know, it really is. Too many of us are told for a variety of reasons. I mean, me, by virtue of my gender, have been said, well, you're not worthy to do that. Most of the time, I just look at people and go, watch me. I have this stubborn streak. I say it like it's a bad thing, but it's gotten me where I am, you know. It's like, don't tell me I can't do something, because I'm going to look you straight in the eye and say, watch me. Watch me. I will do this. If it is something I want to do, I'm not going to do it to spite you. I'm going to do it because it's what I want. And you telling me I can't, it really doesn't mean anything to me. So, you know, and that is a powerful conviction in my own ability to do what it is that I want, to have the experiences that I want, you know, and it has gotten me into some interesting situations. So, you know, try it. You might like it. All right. So experiences, mental equivalents, decide how you want to feel, and then let spirit figure it out. Because that's what spirit's really good for. It has this endless variety of ways of bringing us the experiences that we want to have. All we've got to do is just say, this is how I want to feel. Let's do this. Let's do this. And let spirit run. And know that spirit will. All right. I'm going to wrap this up so that I can get in motion and get to work. I'm going to encourage you to take care of yourself. Hang on. Have a great day, wondrous day, fantastic day, magical day, an enchanted day, wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a take care of yourself day, a put the curtain back with the cat down day, a Enjoy those bright blue eyes looking at you day. Like I said, I have a pair of Siamese. A cuddle your fur babies day. A enjoy the sunshine day. A go dance in the sunshine day. A take care of business day. A make sure you make time to sit down day. A drink plenty of water day. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, because occasionally it is, I get it. Simply have a day. Simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the divine. You are spirit in motion, God in action, a beautiful masterpiece, and a work in progress at the same time at your own pace. You are a brilliant light and a divine spark. And as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. Explore the truth of your being. Get to know who the divine knows you to be. Because the divine knows you to be good, and from there, anything is possible. Anything at all is possible. All right, beloveds, as I said, I am going to move on into the process of my day. Reverend David should be on around 5. Well, as he says, he can be out any time between 4 and midnight. He's retired. He can do what he wants. I, on the other hand, am going to go to work. So that's why I'm pretty consistent about when I get here. So take care of yourself. And I will be back around 9:15 tomorrow. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.